Hello everyone, it's Frances here. Thank you for joining me today, spending some time with me on my channel. What I'm going to do today is show you how to, and I'm sure most of you know this anyway, how to make these little snippets. And the reason they're in my mind at the moment, hubby and I went to a brocante at the weekend over near Salisbury. I don't know, it's Willerton or Wilton, but anyway, it was brilliant. And there were some great traders there. And there was a lady selling these little snippets. And I couldn't resist, although I know how to make them. I've been making them for years. I just thought they were lovely. So I bought one and I added my own bits to it. And I wanted to show you how I do it. But before I do that, when I got home and I was sort of gathering all these little pieces to make it, I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, did I keep any of the ones I made years ago? Now, this book here is a book of just ideas and inspiration, which I started, I can't remember how long ago. We're talking maybe 10, 12 years ago. And I just pop things in here that might inspire me in the future. And there's some weird things in here. I mean, for instance, there's a doll. And I add to it occasionally. So these are just some inspirational things. There's one of them. So that I was making years and years ago, and it's strange how these things go full circle, because at the weekend I bought one that was very similar. I think there's another one in here somewhere. Oh yeah, and there's another one. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. It's very, very simple. All you have to do is choose some bits and pieces. I've chosen a bit of red, a bit of blue, a bit of pink, and we're just going to sort of go with it and see what happens. Okay, so what should we start with? Okay, let's start with one of these. Okay, you need some plain, which I have here, and they're different sizes, as you can see. Actually, I think I might start with that one. That's a bit of floppy, sort of silky, satiny material. So you see that one is a little bit too big because there's too much showing here. So let's just see if I can find one a bit bigger. Yep, that's fine. But there's, again, too much of a gap here. If I want to put 3 or 4 pieces on, which I'm not sure yet, so I've got to go find something to go in here. So we try a bit of pink. No, pink doesn't work. It's about that one. It's a much lighter pattern. Yeah, I think we can do that. But I'll have to cut a bit off, which I don't mind because it just adds to being another snippet. So I want it to sort of, the bottom of it to end between that one and that one. So I'm going to cut about here. It's very old fabric, so it tears beautifully. So there we have another little snippet. So we can take that one off. Put that one on. Yep, I quite like that. So you see what I've done, it's in three layers. They can be closer together if you wish, or if you wanted to add a 4th, no problem at all. But what I then tend to do is just put something a little bit interesting at the top, whether it be a tiny snippet of lace. Yeah, that could work. That's quite nice too. Oh, this is some sari silk that's been hanging around on my desk. Actually, I might put some of that on. So I've cut it a little bit smaller, just so that we have that gap again. This is a little pile of odds and sods that I've got here. No, I think I prefer the other piece. So put that on there. I think that's just a weeny bit big, so I'm going to cut a little bit off. Yeah, and I quite like it being scrappy like this with odd little bits sticking out. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take, and excuse me reaching, a needle and cotton. And here I have a jam jar full of mother of pearl buttons. So just choose one. Put a coloured button on if you wish. You could put a sort of pink or a red on to coordinate with the sort of fabric you're using. I don't sew very well, I'm afraid. It's probably because I don't sew very often. My mother didn't sew. She was a great cook, but she didn't sew. So there was no influence there. So I'm using a button here. You could easily use a bow or a piece of jewellery. Turn it over. A couple of knots. And snip off. Okay, so that's that one. You could, I have these laundry tags here. You could just add one to the bottom if you, I quite like that. I'm not going to sew it on for now, just for speed. I'm going to just pop it down with the tiniest little bit of Yoo-hoo. And then I'll come back later off camera and finish that off. I think that looks quite nice, doesn't it? And then, as you can imagine, that could be over the journal page. You could do this. There's your journal page. And then you have a snippet. But you can do what you want with it. You can pop it into a pocket. You can give it as happy mail, whatever. So I'll just put those two to one side. But you can see how just by scraps of fabric you can make something extremely pretty. Shall we do a blue one? Okay, so let's make a bigger one. This is some beautiful toile that I had. Now I like that bottom curled up bit, so I'm going to keep that there. Then I need a piece of plain fabric. Now, yes, you could put cream on there, but I'm going to go with Shall I put that underneath? Yeah, it's all a bit big, that, so I'm going to take it down. Sometimes it doesn't tear very well this way. Oh, that's okay. So I'm thinning it down. I'll do this one as well. Ouch. And it's also too long. Okay, tear if you can, because I don't know about you, but I love these edges. Okay, so there's your little gap at the bottom. Then we could go some blue. No, that would work if I had something. Yeah, I quite like that. Now, that piece is not quite long enough. Okay, let's see if this one's any bigger. A tiny bit. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten both of these. Don't think this one tears very well. Oh, it does. So that one. So all these little bits that I'm ripping off, they're not thrown away. They're stored in a snippet box. There we go, that's better. Then the striped tee bit. Have I got the right side? Yeah. And then that bit over the top. Yeah, I like that. Just pull that down a bit because I can catch it when I put the button or whatever on. Yeah, I like that very much, that one. Okay, so a plain piece, and the reason I didn't choose to put white behind it is because the background of these two are very similar, and the colour is very similar to that, and it's just different shades of blue. Then I have this, don't know where it came from, but I've got these pieces of sort of ribbon lace, and so I cut a few pieces off this morning. You see, it's not blue, but I think that looks rather nice. So I could put it down that way. What do you think? Come on, shout at the camera. Trouble is, I do like that very much, and I don't want to cover up so much of the pattern. Just take a wee bit off the top, I think. Yeah, what do you think? Light's not brilliant this morning, is it? The window is here, but it is north facing and it is a very grey day. Just after 6 a.m. this morning, I decided to take the dog out for a walk. And as much as I bundled up, it was so cold. Things had blown over. There was dustbins in the middle of the lane. And, well, it was generally not a nice. And then I was almost home, 10 minutes from home. And would you believe it started hailing? And I got absolutely soaked. So I'm going to have to lean over you again because I'm not going to use a button here. But I'm not 100% sure whether I've got what I want. So I've got this little tin where I keep odd bits and pieces in. Oh, I know what we could do. We could use a pin. That might be quite nice. Let's try that. Otherwise, one could use a bit of bling on it. If you had a bigger piece, you could obviously put a piece of jewellery on it. But no, in this case, I think I am going to use a pin. And then if I want to change my mind and add some more to it at some point, I can easily do that. So yeah, I quite like that. What do you think? Can you see it? Okay. I think you get the general idea. All you need different lengths of snippets like this. You know, there's some from 3 or 4 inches to some longer ones like this old, I think it's Cabbages and Roses fabric, which is probably about 7 or 8 inches. So depending on the size of your book or whatever, just use what you have. I mean, I have got quite an assortment here, I know. What I'm going to do is, because lots of people say to me, oh yeah, you make these snippets, but we haven't got the snippets. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make up some little boxes, kits of snippets, pieces of fabric, pretty fabrics, a lot of vintage. There might be a few newish ones in there, like that, for instance. Excuse me, but it's still very, very pretty. So that's French, English, French, English, French, can't remember. Mix English and French. I bought that in France. Oh, and there's some little bits like that too. Just anything. You see how scrappy it is, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, so there would be a mixture in the box, and there would be enough to do probably, I would say at least 8 to 10 little raggedy snippets. So if you would like a box, just send me a message, but I will be putting the little kits of how to do this on Instagram. It will include little bits of snippety lace as well. So, and a few, what are they? Safety pins, a few mother and pearl and plain buttons. So I hope you liked that idea. Was there something else I was going to tell you? I can't remember. They won't be very expensive either because, as I say, these are just offcuts and snippets that I've been using. So those are they, completed. I hope you like that and you might give it a go. Thanks for joining me today. Please leave a message below and a like. It just helps my little channel to grow. And as you've probably gathered, I do love to chat and tell a story. So thanks for watching me and goodbye for now.